Hey, Ben here, and today I want to talk to you about failure and failing. And it seems, in the UK especially, it's seen as a bit of a dirty word. You know, it's not acceptable. You should be ashamed if you fail. The failures are things that we shouldn't talk about. We should only really talk about our successes. And this is utter rubbish. Failure is just a precursor to success. Without failing, we don't know what doesn't work. You don't want to continue to keep failing and to never succeed. But to succeed, you have to fail. Failure will teach us what doesn't work. And there are a few tips and tricks with failing that you need to take on board. And there's so many different terms, like flogging a dead horse. If something is not working, you don't want to keep doing it. That is the definition of insanity, continuing to do the same thing and expecting a different response, or outcome. It's not going to change. You are going to keep failing. The trick is to be able to fail fast and to pivot quickly. So, whenever you set out to do anything, you should have a plan, and there should be various steps along the way. You should already know what the criteria is to analyse success and what that looks like. You should have different points throughout that journey where you're stopping and analysing and making sure you are on the right track. If you're not, you need to pivot and try something different. And it's all of those pivots around failure that lead us to success. Very rarely does anybody try to do anything big and just succeed straight out the bat. You fail, you look at it, you understand why you failed or why you think it failed, and how you can pivot that into success. Is your audience wrong? Is your messaging wrong? If you're marketing something, are the visuals wrong? You need to be able to set out your strategy and the steps to go through it in a way that you are cycling through and testing the different variations, so that you can see, right, okay, that didn't work, but what if I swap this out and put that in? Right, do the stats go up? Do they drop down? Right, I'm getting further away. It's basically like playing hotter, colder. When you're hotter, right, okay, that bit changed, so what other thing can I change? The other really important thing to note when you are trying to pivot and get to success is you do not want to be changing lots and lots of variables in one go, because you change lots of variables and then things start to succeed. The problem you're going to find with that is, okay, that's now, the results are getting better, but what variable that you changed is leading you to that? It is slower, yes, but you need to be changing one variable at a time. So say you're testing different ads and ad responses to a market. You wouldn't want to go and change the image, the headline, and who you're targeting that at in one go, because you have no idea what change gave you that significant benefit. You want to be testing different audiences, but with the same ad visual and headline and description. So you're cycling all the different variations through the different variations. So you've got a series of, say, 3 or 4 different headlines. They overlay with different images, they match with different descriptions, and then they all match with different audiences. So you can then start seeing, okay, it's this combination over here that works, not these. But if you just kind of randomly go from changing one thing to another, that's not going to work. So many times I see people, they have a really good idea, they'll set something up, they fail. They go, doesn't work, that was rubbish, what a rubbish idea. You're not going to succeed with an attitude like that. If you know that there's a market for something, you know that this will eventually work, it's your responsibility to keep trying the different variables to get you closer to that end goal. But your failures will give you more information. You will learn more through those failures than any success that you'll give. So, next time you fail, don't look at it as a bad thing. Every failure just gets you one step closer to success. And you've got to remember that most success relies about 2 foot from every failure. So don't give up, keep pushing forward. Just make sure you've got a plan and make sure you know where your pivot points are within that plan, and you know what you're testing. What does success look like and what do you need to get along the way to get there? Hope you found this video helpful. How do you measure success? How do you deal with failure? You know, do you struggle with it, or do you just look at it as just another step in that journey? Love to hear your thoughts. Let me know. Hit me up in the comments below and I will get back to you.